Hello everybody, welcome back to a new episode of Watch Us Play. I'm Eric Norris. Typically, I am joined by my partner in crime, Joe Davidson, but he is busy doing parenting stuff this week, so he is not able to join me. His loss, because we are looking at Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, which is a game that just came out today by Platinum Games. You may know them from the Bayonetta game, Vanquish, they're also known for. They even released Anarchy Reigns earlier in this year, which wasn't really too great as far as I'm concerned. Metal Gear Rising, on the other hand, is awesome. I actually have a review posted up on craveonline.com in the gaming channel, so go check that out after you're done watching this video. But the gist of it is, I really enjoyed the game. I state as much in my review, but I was really hesitant about Platinum Games taking on the Metal Gear series and the adventures of Raiden post Metal Gear Solid 4. The story seemed to be complete, so I wasn't really sure where they were going to go, and I didn't know how the over-the-top, balls-to-the-wall action would really work. As I know Platinum Games is great at that type of game, but I wasn't sure if it would work in the context of Metal Gear. To some respects, Metal Gear Rising falters, at least where the story is concerned. It doesn't really, explain in enough detail, as far as I'm concerned, why Raiden picked back up his sword and became basically a private security man following the events of Metal Gear Solid 4, which seemed to indicate that he was kind of done with that warrior lifestyle. But he's sucked back into it for one reason or the other with Revengeance here, and he kind of just, does Raiden's thing. He cuts a lot of people into mini pieces, which you've seen a little bit of already in this video, and you'll see a lot of, actually, over the course of it. In fact, right here. And this is the cutting mechanic of Revengeance, which is pretty much the game's gimmick, right since it was originally announced, and it was still being developed by Kojima Productions, who are, of course, the guys that handled the Metal Gear series, led by Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear. But yeah, so this slice any direction you want and slice anything is kind of the gimmick of Rising, and Platinum Games picked that up. They actually put it to really, really great use. They built it into the game, so you actually have to use it in order to basically cut foes at certain angles, so you get to like their electrolyte infused spine, which refuels your health. So it's a way for you to get health back should you run close to out of it in the middle of combat. So they've worked it into being more than just a cool looking gimmick, which it definitely is. It actually factors into the gameplay. And here you see me fighting a few troops with this Psi weapon that actually can pull you close to enemies, and this Metal Gear Gecko that people who have played Metal Gear 4 should be very, very familiar with. The game has a number of weapons. Again, you're seeing the Psi here, and you actually see me switch back to right here, this bow staff ranged weapon, which is actually a bunch of little like nanobots arms strung together, and it's a stiff staff when it needs to be, and it turns into kind of like a whip almost. Great for crowd control. This game has another, you don't see it in the video, but it has a heavy weapon also, and all of these things you unlock over the course of the actual game. So I'm playing back through, I think that this is the second mission of the entire game after the game's prologue, so I already have beaten it, and kind of going back through it, so I have all the weapons and a bunch of enhancements to those weapons and to my life gauge already applied. So right at the start, you don't really have anything more than his lightning sword, which is what you primarily use throughout the course of the game. But in this video, you're seeing like a wide range of the actual weapons that you'll unlock and get to use and cycle between. And again, this is pretty much the majority of what Rising is. It's a pretty balls-to-the-wall action game. There are a few moments where you get to sneak around and take people out silently. You saw it a little bit earlier in the video with me kind of creeping up on guys and stabbing them in the back. But the majority of it is you just kind of running into an area, it being closed off with invisible walls, and you have to basically fight a few waves of you know, normal like troops, soldiers, and Metal Gears to open up and move on. That's pretty much the gist of the whole thing. But it works incredibly well. I state as much in my review. Rising is an incredible action game. We're going to cut right here to a boss fight that's a little bit later in the level with this kind of dog creature. And this is where I'm going to actually end the video, right at the end of this fight. As far as gameplay is concerned, there were some cutscenes that I kind of skipped over just so those interested in picking up the game, you know, don't have that kind of stuff spoiled. It's nothing huge or major or revolutionary for the actual plot, but I wouldn't want to see it if I was thinking about picking up the game, so I kind of save you from that. I make quick work of this boss in particular, just because I know his attack patterns having played through the game before, but I will say the boss fights in this game, when you first play through them, especially the ones that happen later on, are very difficult. It's pretty much a lot of being very patient and memorizing attack patterns in order for you to actually win the fight. So for those who maybe play these hardcore action games and don't feel like they provide enough challenge these days, I know that was kind of a complaint lobbed against DMC Devil May Cry. I think Revengeance here will kind of satiate those hardcore action fans, and you know, people that are familiar with Platinum's Bayonetta series, you know, should feel right at home as far as getting a awesome action game that also provides a challenge. And this is just on normal, mind you, that things are pretty difficult. So I've started to work through the game on the harder difficulty. I'm only like maybe a level or two in, but it definitely is a challenge. Make real quick work of that Metal Gear gecko right there. And this is pretty much, I think, the last little round I have to do with this little dog creature. So I'm going to sign off here. This has been Watch Us Play. I'm Eric Norris. No Joe Davidson. He should be back next time if you can't stand just myself talking and gabbing away. But hit up craveonline.com for more gaming coverage. Again, you can read the review, or our review of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance in the gaming channel now. You can also find coverage of film, TV, sports, comics, etc. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with here is a snippet of a cutscene later in the game. Enjoy.
¿Quién es ese güey? ¿Un mariachi? ¿No? ¿Un cyborg? Ese sombrero. ¿Qué? ¿Ah?
Adiós, amigos.
¿Viste? Qué raro, ¿eh? Hay que hacer que no lo vimos. Vámonos ya.